Hi, this is Tom Callos, coach for the UVVT and the 100. Here's an exclusive set of flashcards called What Would You Do? What Would You Do? Which will either confirm me as the teaching genius of the century or that I've gone completely over the edge. They're for 5 weeks, scenario-based training modules. You do one a week, perhaps. And it gives young people of a certain age a chance to respond, for you to train them to respond the appropriate way. You know, self-defense. They're small flashcards. This is a mock-up. What would you do? What would you do? And I like flashcards because you can pass them to somebody else. They're easy to train on. You can stick them in a box and pull them out, and there's your lesson. You can give a nice, tight little presentation, and it's just a very easy way to communicate a message. So without further ado, here's number 1. All right, here's the scenario. You can imagine you're reading this to a group of kids at the end of a class. This is part of the Take 5 for education, meaning 5-minute educational installments that you put at the end of the class to, teach various things. Here's the scenario. It's really early morning, like 9 o'clock early, and you've just gotten up. Last night you had a big party with some friends, and your room looks like it was hit by a hurricane, and a tornado, and an earthquake. You're still sleepy, and you're thinking the perfect morning would be grabbing a bowl of cereal, turning on the TV, and vegging out for a few more hours. But right after saying good morning to your mom, she asks you to do a quick cleanup on your room while she makes breakfast. You want to whine, you want to complain, but instead then you point to a student. What would you do? What would you do? And just in case they don't know what they'd say, I've done a mock-up here. This is called, appropriately, Sample and Appropriate Response. Mom, first, thank you for asking me. It would be my honor to serve you. Consider it a small down payment on all that I owe you for loving and nurturing me since birth. Yes, of course I will do this, and let me tell you here and now, this is only the beginning of my unselfish service to this house and your life. In fact, your request is so small, so easy to accomplish, that I'm going to undertake several other tasks so that I might be worthy of your admiration and respect. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now please, allow me to tend to my tasks. Obviously, it's a little tongue-in-cheek, but the idea is to train the student in an appropriate response that gets everybody's attention and actually gives them a chance to think about how they behave when they're asked to do something. And so let's read number 2. Okay, number 2. I think you're getting the hang of this already. There's a new video game that's just been released called Blood, Guts, Doom, Wasted Time, and Vomit 7. And you feel like you have to have it now, or your brain will explode. But when you ask your folks to stop what they're doing and race to the video store to get it for you, they actually have the nerve to say, you'll have to earn it by doing some chores around the house. Well, you're thinking, don't they remember that you took out the trash last month? Have they lost the ability to recall that you've already swept the kitchen floor twice this year? Do they have any recollection of the blood, sweat, and tears you've put into organizing your prized collection of dirty underwear? You'd like to go into an hour-long rant and rave session. You'd like to remind them of how your mental health hinges upon the acquisition of this video game. But because of the superior mental training you've received here at this amazing school, you respond by saying, what would you do? What would you do? May take a little practice. Number 3. You've just spent an entire 10 minutes cleaning up your own room. You even threw out that crusty black banana peel from last month. But when you call your dad in for an inspection, instead of being eternally grateful, he says, could you please spend a little more time and clean out from under your bed too? Does this man know how much time you've already put into this project? Does he have any idea of just how busy you are? Does he realize the magnitude of his request? Your first instinct is to fall to the floor and throw the temper tantrum of the century, but instead, because of the superior training you've received at this school, you do the following. What would you do? What would you do? Yeah. All right. Number 4. You're getting it, right? Okay, number 4. 4th week. You've just asked your folks to pay your way to the movies. You're going to see another viewing of Rambo versus Barney. And you want to arrive on time to see all 42 of the movie previews before the film. The show starts in 30 minutes, and so you're in the car waiting patiently when your mom comes out and says, "Excuse me, but you forgot to make your bed. Could you please go back in the house and do it before we go?" You immediately feel hot, like there's a fire burning in your brain. You're thinking, don't you know I have more important things to tend to? You feel like locking the doors and driving there yourself, despite the fact that you won't get your driver's license for another 5 years. You feel like going nuclear, but instead you... The final one. Of course, you have to be a bit of an actor to do these, but I think you can handle it, or you know somebody in your school who could. You just come home from a long, hard day, or just come home from a long, hard half day at school, and the first thing your mom does is ask you to help fold some of the laundry. In your head, you're thinking, would I like to fold some laundry? Sure, Mom. Can I do it right after I drive red-hot iron spikes beneath all 10 of my fingernails? Can I do it right after I eat those 2 cans of salmon bologna cat food? Can I wait until I listen to the Rush Limbaugh show on my iPod? But knowing what you know now as a result of this school's ingenious and effective character training program, you say, what would you do? What would you do? This set of flashcards, you can pick up the art on our members-only website. It's called What Would You Do? What Would You Do? Hope you've enjoyed it. And, of course, not everybody can pull it off, but it's right up my alley.